Happy to bring on Dr. Jeff Root to halftime here. He's the Dean of the Ouachita Baptist School of Humanities. He's a professor of communications, longtime play-by-play broadcaster for Arkadelphia High School. How long have you been on the Ouachita football broadcasts, Jeff?
I joined Rex Nelson. He was on play-by-play. I joined him on color when we were both in college, about 1980.
It's a labor of love for sure. Arkadelphia and these two schools have been in the spotlight over the last week in ways that I can't quite remember. Obviously disappointing that ESPN College Game Day won't be here, but what has the last week been like? And then what's kind of like the mood around town and around campus, knowing that it didn't happen this year, but it still may happen in the future?
Well, folks kind of got their hopes up a little bit, but at the same time, everybody realized that the attention we're getting even before the announcement is worth a lot to both universities and to the town of Arkadelphia. So it's been overall a very, very positive thing. And I think it does kind of put us on the radar. So perhaps at some point it will happen in the future. The 100th game is 2 years from now. But you don't really know from year to year how much of a chance you have because it depends on things out of our control. It depends on who else is playing and whether or not they might make the playoffs and whether or not the Game Day folks have been to that campus recently.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of odd that, this wouldn't have been out there had Reese Davis not just had a slip-up where he talks about, I may get in trouble for saying it, but he's trying to push the Battle of the Ravine. But you guys did have conversations with the folks at Game Day, right? For years now, there has been some contact. And Chris Babb, as he set up the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, part of our communications department at Ouachita, the athletic administration, our president through the years, there's been an effort through the years to kind of get their attention. This was the first time that we knew that we would be seriously considered. And so that really put us on a different plane. And at the same time that we knew there was a reason for them to come and that they were interested, we also knew it would be an uphill battle because it would be a first. So, to go to Amherst in Division III, well, that's a little bit different story. They're playing Williams College, the oldest liberal arts college in America. There are reasons to see that on the East Coast. To come to Arkadelphia was a different kind of scenario, but one that I think they took very seriously. But is it also a feeling of, that I'm from Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
McAfee's from Pittsburgh.
Right.
Right. It's a big game, obviously, that they're going to cover. But was it also a feeling of the changes in college football and how it's becoming, I don't know if corporate's the right idea, but it is becoming more corporate. You throw more money into the thing, it's going to become more corporate. Division II football still has that feel of what college football and college sports overall used to feel like. Did you feel like that was kind of part of the tension of this?
I think so. I mean, when you think about the fact that we have a graduation percentage of our Ouachita football team that's higher than the student body itself. I mean, it's a pretty amazing thing. They come and they stay, basically, and they graduate. Todd Knight has a wonderful system of support academically and otherwise, and so that kind of system in a variety of places creates some stability. And the fact that we're not marketable on a national stage also creates some stability. So we've got really fine athletes. Some of them might have started in Division I and have come to us. Many of them started out as not Division I prospects, but could be good enough to play. I'll give you an example. We had starting tackles for a number of years. They were coming from Little Rock, but they were 6'4" and 220 pounds in high school, and they were not recruited for Division I. They came here, they redshirted, they start playing when they're 6'4" and 280 pounds. By the time they are All-Americans at Ouachita, they're 6'4", 300 pounds. They're both physics majors. One of them graduates on time. The other decides to stay a fifth year and play through his eligibility. The one that left has a year of eligibility left. He goes to Rice and starts for them. So there are some really quality players in Division II, but most of them know that they're playing for the joy of the game and for their university and because it helps them pay for school because we're a Division II, we have scholarships. And so with that opportunity, that's a different scenario than just preparing for the NFL. And we have a few players every now and then they're going to make the NFL. A lot of division teams have a few examples of that. But for the most part, that's not why they're on the field.
You think of conferences and all the schools that are within a conference are partners with each other, business partners. And so all of their health and their athletic department's health, it does mean something for the strength of the conference. What does now? I know Henderson State has been in some pretty dire financial situations a year ago, 2 years ago, and hopefully they're on their way back. They're part of Arkansas State now, right?
Yes.
So how important is it for these two schools to be strong for each other? Like, what does it mean for Ouachita, for Henderson, to be a strong institution and vice versa?
It's vitally important for both schools because we cooperate academically while we play each other as high rivals in multiple sports, football being the most noticeable one. But in multiple sports, there's quite a rivalry. Our volleyball teams will play against each other tomorrow night. So there's a lot of rivalry athletically, but academically, our card catalogs in the library have for decades been both, and you can look up the Henderson Library and the Ouachita Library. We can have a lot of cooperation between our education schools because they have the same goal, to make people teachers, right? So a lot of academic cooperation goes on, and in the town of Arkadelphia itself, it's just vital that both schools be healthy simply because they are the major industries in Arkadelphia.
So one of my favorite things to do when I did Henderson games is to drive to Arkadelphia the week of the Battle of the Ravine and just walk around campus. Where's all the Viz Queen? I didn't see any Viz Queen up protecting anything around some of the fountains and everything. That was the thing that always stood out, is that every sign used to be protected. I don't know if I see that right now.
Yeah, we're not seeing it right now because we've gone through a number of years in which the students have decided to celebrate the rivalry in ways that didn't involve vandalism, which has been a really good thing. If you go back far enough, in the 1950s, the two schools actually had to stop playing each other for a while because it got to be kind of physical at times. And so for about a decade, that's why we're going to play our 100th game against Henderson 2 years from now, but we've actually played them for, I think, closer to 110 years, but not consecutively because they had to stop for a little while. But that was many years ago. Today, it's a much more, I wouldn't say cordial, especially on game day. It is highly intense. The players know each other. The players are really intent on winning that game, and you can sense that intensity, and you sense it in the town also because you'll have half the town on one side and half the town on the other side. And yet tomorrow morning they're going to go to church together, or tomorrow morning they're going to go have coffee together. It's a well-controlled thing where the rage is kind of there for a little while, and then it evaporates soon enough.
It percolates under the surface.
There you go.
For about 364 days a year, and then it doesn't. Then it's above the surface there. But I mean, if you think Alabama and Auburn is something, or Mississippi State and Ole Miss, they don't have anything on the Battle of the Ravine.
It really, to me, is all about the intensity. I mean, we're not going to have as many players on the field go to the NFL as the Alabama-Auburn game. But I don't know how it can be much more intense than you see the players and the fans at a Ouachita Henderson contest. Part of it is the tradition. Part of it is because families are sometimes both Ouachita and Henderson families. One great example of that is the chancellor at Henderson, who's already made such a great difference in helping that school recover from some difficult times. Trey Berry is his name. He and I graduated from high school together here in Arkadelphia. He's a Ouachita grad. He taught in the history department at Ouachita, but he's the chancellor at Henderson. His father, the baseball field at Henderson, is named for him. Mm-hmm. His father, Clyde Berry, longtime coach at Henderson. His mother, emeritus faculty member in art at Ouachita. So here's a guy who grew up literally on both campuses, and yet he'll choose to sit on the red side during the game.
That's funny.
Jeff, I got a question. This is Clay. What's the best, coolest, most clever prank? I mean, I don't want to hear about, okay, the Henderson guys painted a wall red or something like that. I mean, at UCA, when we played Arkansas Tech, they would come and paint our bear in front of the Arkansas Hall. They would come paint it green and gold. That's not clever. What's something you thought, oh, those guys, those kids, they were clever?
Well, I mean, the one that I always go to, Clay, I'm sure you've heard about this, but the one I always go to is the fact that Henderson, unlike Ouachita, has an aviation program. And so they filled up a couple of airplanes with red and white marshmallows and then dropped them on our campus. It was raining red and white marshmallows one day. And, you know, that is clever and it's not harmful, but it is clever.
Striking. Messy.
It may have been criminal in some sense. I don't know that you can really do that if you are training people to be pilots, but still, it was a great prank, and it didn't harm anything, which is a nice way to celebrate. Some of the traditions, though, like at Ouachita, we see tents right now out by the statue of the tiger. Well, That's a long-standing tradition. Henderson no longer comes over to get paint on the Tiger. I don't think they'd be welcome if they did that, and nobody tries to do that. But we still guard the Tiger. It's become a Ouachita tradition. The freshmen have a night, the sophomores have a night, and vice versa. They go all night long guarding the Tiger. They're a little bit sleepy in class the next day, but that's a tradition.
It's understood, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tradition that I took part in when I was a student, and now they do. So
we didn't guard
this
the
is
beer.
a special week for so many traditions on both campuses.
So I'll just end on this. You want to talk about intensity. I don't know if I've experienced such intensity as the first time I ever did a Battle of the Ravine, and I called 7 of them, and this is before you guys renovated the stadium.
Yes.
And the old press box, which was, I mean, that really wasn't wood that the walls were made of. I think it was made out of paper that sort of felt like wood. And with every single touchdown, and we had a lot of touchdowns in that game. It was back and forth and went in overtime, I think, if you remember.
Absolutely. Heartbreaker.
Your radio partner, Rex Nelson, who is as good as gold, would pound on the wall with every touchdown. And my radio partner, R.J. Hawk, did the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought the two of them were going to end up breaking the wall down by the time we got into the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
That was intensity times 50.
Listen, Phil, for years, I made sure that I would sit on his left 2-day games because he's right-handed. And if you sat to his right, he'd hit you during the game. Either a really good play or a really bad play, he would hit you during the game. So recently, he's mellowed some, not necessarily on the touchdown calls, but he's mellowed for the most part. He doesn't hit as often. But a couple of games ago, we weren't sure how it was going to go. It was SAU. SAU's good. We're improving. And then suddenly we were winning the game by quite a lot. And I just stopped the broadcast at one point and I said, I've got to say, the Tigers are ready to play in this game, and Rex is ready because he's hit me 3 times already in this game because he gets so excited. And it's as much fun to sit by him and call a game as you can imagine that it would be because nobody's into it in a more emotional way than Rex.
The sport's much different now. College football, Division I. Does it still feel as the same sport in Division II? Even like 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
It feels the same in terms of the students are actually here to stay and get a diploma from Ouachita. That feels the same. The talent level is higher. I suppose in part because Todd Knight does a great job of recruiting, and also because I can't help but feel like the portal is pushing out some opportunities for high school kids who are finding a home at a Division II school and might have had a chance to go to Division I if things were different in Division I. That may be true, but I certainly feel like the talent level in Division II much higher than when Rex and I started doing games in NAIA, but definitely it has hit a high note here. Harding's got a lot of talent. Henderson's got a lot of talent. SAU's really strong. Ouachita is strong. And some of the other teams, including Oklahoma teams, are getting better too. So I feel like the quality of the game itself that we're watching is really strong.
All right, let's leave it there. I know the game will be great because the Battle of the Ravine is always an entertaining game, no matter who comes out in the end. You know who I'll be rooting for, but I know it'll be a great game, Jeff. Thanks for your time.
You don't always win your first bet. That's why MyBookie has you covered. Use our code HOGS, H-O-G-S, and your first bet up to $500 is fully covered. If your pick doesn't hit, you get it right back with our Bet Back bonus. Go to mybookie.ag and use the code HOGS to claim your Bet Back bonus. MyBookie's where bettors win together because bragging's good, but cashing in is better. And your first bet is fully covered. Use our code HOGS.
Must opt in during the bet to use the Bet Back bonus.